Okay, 2073, good luck. We've not played before, there's no head-to-head score there. 580 games are rapid for my opponent. I've got 200 and something now. 234 I'm up to. What do I want to do? Let's just develop. Challenge for the centre, then we'll try and get castled. Okay. Let's go up there. Just challenge the defending bishop. Okay, pushes forward. I think I'm just going to remove the bishop. Do I want to do this and allow pawn to come forward and kick me back? That's a question. E4, you're kind of inviting further down the line the f pawn to come forward. So if necessary, I'll just spend an extra move and drop the knight back if he chooses to push. If takes, I'll probably go with the knight just to keep this pawn structure intact. Now he does indeed push forward. Now knight up is a move, but probably knight back. So if I go forward, 2 attack it, 1 defend. If you come forward here, I guess I just take. So if you play a move like rook across, queen over, knight here, rook across, queen over, I guess you can play a move like queen now. I do have a path back, but it's more awkward. It's kind of forcing though, isn't it? It's probably a bit too risky. I'm just going to come around the angles, I think. I expect a move like f5 is going to come. So again, it could be a fairly sharp game, this one. So let's bring the knight up and then come around the angles. I'm going to take there. And now bishop up and just aim to castle. I mean, h4 in a bullet game, you might play something like this. In rapid, it's probably a little bit risky. Just develop. If knight in, I've got the option to take, or I can shift my queen somewhere. I say I'm just aiming to get castled, then kind of worry about what to do. Right, bishop up. Okay, I'm going to stick to the plan and castle. Now we need to get a plan here. Rook across is very logical for both of us. I think we'll do the same as well. If knight in, we can take, or we can move the queen and we can then try and push. So I think queen across is my favoured move here. Is there anything else or any reason not to? Say queen back, knight takes, rook across. I mean, it's getting a little bit awkward. Just come across, you're putting the queen in the firing line a little bit, so it's a little bit awkward this, but it feels like I should be fine to just push the pawn to kick that knight. And obviously I need to do something with this one. Yeah, now I think this is going to start coming, so it might actually be sensible to take it and drop the knight back. Yeah, I think that knight is a bit more dangerous than my bishop, so I'm going to potentially just drop the knight back here. Now, do I want to do this? Do I leave it? I'm going to drop the knight back and maybe go up and challenge this bishop. I'm trying not to play too quickly here because it is rapid. Okay, comes forward. Obviously, if you take right now, you lose your queen. So we want to move the queen. So queen up, you probably do this. Is there any trick? I don't see it. There is a threat though, of course. I need to move the queen. I'm kind of favouring going forward, but again, I'm walking into a diagonal. But I don't see anything better. I'm going here, so I've got the option to move the knight if needed. The rook guards the rook, the knight guards the rook. Knight f4 I'd like to play. And of course, we're immediately threatening the b5 pawn. Okay, it does defend, so this is where I thought knight up was my logical move here. Just threatening to take, but also threatening to take. I would imagine a move like knight across would be the reply. It does allow this knight to then drop back, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to go there. I don't want to burn all the clock. I expect a move like knight across, and it's whether I want to take and risk opening the file. Maybe this knight across, but then this knight's running out of squares. You don't want to go here. Risk and reward. The queen's probably a bit misplaced here now, so I can try and kick this rook or the knight if the knight jumps in. That's what's happened. So, take, then knight back. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a knight back, then probably move the queen back with a view to b3. Maybe even queen across to attack the pawn. Obviously, I've got to watch out for moves like queen across threatening the rook, but right now it is double protected, so for one move at least it's alright. Queen here is a potential tempo for black, but you do attack a pawn unless the queen is here. In which case we could maybe just simply come right the way back. Knight up is a move, knight up is a move, but we don't want to forget about our rook. Just click anywhere and it clears your markings. Get the cursor off the board so there's no accidental slips. Well, the queen's come forward, and that wasn't a move I was considering, so opponents may be looking at just taking, deflecting the rook and crashing through. It's interesting. So maybe I can come across now, hit the pawn, but my queen's a bit misplaced. But I could just simply take here first. You can take with something, we can go forward, but knight check. Sorry, knight takes, not check. Knight takes is actually a serious threat there. So queen here with a view to coming in. I've got knight across to guard, and then I'm okay to take back. But I need to move the queen so I can play b3 and attack this rook. So I'm looking at here. If takes, I can take with the knight. Then the knight can come in. Then I've got to move like queen up or takes. But then you've got the knight takes issue. So it's a bit of a threat here. What about queen back? If takes, queen takes, knight in, then I'm okay to go here and that's covered. Yeah, I'm going to drop back. If takes, go here, otherwise I'm threatening to kick the rook now. But yeah, there is actually an underlying threat there with the knight potentially taking and the queen crashing through. Knight here guards the rook, but feels like I'm getting a little bit passive here, a little bit defensive. Given black a very good position. Obviously, pawn up here though does kick the rook, stops it being planted here. So we're level on time, just under 6 minutes left each. Can we find a way to break through and get ourselves forward and go after that king? Wow, knight forward, okay. That feels like a mistake to me, but doesn't mean it is. But here, if you take thinking there's a fork, I can actually get out the way with a check. So rook takes is a move, and you can't take with this one because you lose your knight. So rook takes, and I think you've got to take here. That then weakens these pawns, and I can go here, and that feels really bad for black. So that's my logical move here. I'm not seeing anything else, but I think you have to take here. These pawns are going to be split. b3 feels strong. The knight will end up having to go back or potentially get trapped. Maybe you can bring the knight round like this, but I think it can be easily challenged. So I think you have to take here and just accept that there's a bit of a problem. Maybe knight across straight away to attack the pawn, maybe pawn up. But I do favour pawn here. Knight down, queen up, we attack the pawns. Knight across, I can take, you take. Maybe just knight back, or maybe knight across. But what about the simple queen up first? Attack the pawn, then go forward and there's no knight in. I like the look of that actually. Keep it simple, attack the pawn, then threaten to play b3. The knight's got nowhere to really jump forward then. There is a threat to capture a pawn, albeit to lose a pawn. Knight across is a move as well to hit the pawn. I just got to keep my king safe here, don't do anything silly and blow the defences open. Okay, the queen's gone back, so if we take, you can take here. I don't like that, but I think pawn up, takes, say the knight back, then I can come and take. That feels good to me. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to burn all the clock. If takes, I take. There is a 2-on-1 majority for black though, so it's not without risk. Okay, just goes there. I'm just going to grab the pawn then. There is still a slight risk here, isn't it? If you get a planted pawn, and if I take, the knight comes in, so it's a good idea from black here. But a pawn's still a pawn. We have a check. We can hopefully start pushing forward somehow, get the knight forward, if we can get the rook into the game, but without losing our defences. Okay, so that's what he's working on here, trying to create the passed pawn. What about knight up now, just to attack this pawn with a check threat? I like knight f4 here. If you push, it's a problem, isn't it? I'm going to take first. Oh, mind you, I've just realised knight in. But again, I do have a queen check, so I can get out of the way. Knight in is strong here. Move my knight up. Oh, he's gone with the pawn. Okay. So what about rook across now? If you move your knight, you get your queen pinned. I guess you can go here, but then there's a check. So rook across, if you push, I can just take. Rook across, if you defend. If you defend with a rook, there's a check. Defend with a queen, you can't. You could go there, then I'll take a pawn. I'm going to go here and attack the knight. Maybe knight here. Oh, actually, yeah, knight here. I've got a check, but I'm kind of going a little bit loose here. Maybe I've just got knight up to challenge the knight immediately in the pawn. So knight up, if you jump in, I've got a check to get out the way. So I'm going to do that. Again, I've got a back rank mate issue, so I've got to be really careful. Pawn down, I think I'm in time just to simply take the knight. Okay, he does take. I'm going to take back. Now I've just got this pawn to deal with and we're doing really well. Queen across creates this threat, but I've got to spend a move pushing a pawn. Okay, so that's what he's gone for there. So I might have to spend a move pushing a pawn first here. And maybe this, get behind in this. Yeah, I'm going to spend a move pushing a pawn just so it's been done. Down, I'll obviously have to go here then, maybe push a pawn to guard. So it's not without losing risk this. Yeah, he's gone there, so I think surely I have to go across. I don't have to think about that. Then I'm going to have to play a move like pawn up. So I think I have to do that. Guard my rook. If you take, I don't have much else. Maybe I can throw a check in or drop back and then try and push my own pawn. So here, and then try and push. But he's very close to breaking through, isn't he? Very close. Queen up threatens a check. So queen up, queen across, check. Say you run take, you take. That's no good for me. I'm just going to come back and try and run a pawn and open things up. But this pawn is going to be very fast as well. So I might have misplayed this. As long as he can guard his pawn, I can't capture it. And how do I stop this one? I don't know. So I'm going to try and create my own. At least the king's a target. This king's not got much in the way of defensive cover, so we can hopefully get a lot of checks. So I'm just going to push there and try and push a pawn forward. Advance the pawn. Now go forward. I'm trying to dislodge this rook and collect this before this pawn gets right to the end. We just need 2 more moves. Black does have the advantage of the first move here, but 2 more than the queen's in the way. Oh, that's now moved, so I can just collect the pawn, right? So do I do that? Do I spend a move pushing and then say I can argue that I can take next move? I think I do. I think I push up first. As long as I can deal with this main one, even if I lose this one. This one, not easy, but a little bit easier than this one, of course, because it's further back. But we are threatening to capture the pawn now. If you spend a move going back, I can just push on again. And now there isn't a queen check just to simply collect. So I think that's my next candidate move. But let's just see. We're up on the clock now, so we can take a bit of time. We've got a minute. Right, the queen's gone back. So am I in time to actually grab this pawn first, or take? You take either way here, then take here. Check, up, and I'm covering this check. I think I'm okay to take. I'm going to take this danger one first. I think I'm okay to take this one. So if I take and you rook check, I come up and I'm still covering this queen check, but not this queen check. So what about throwing in a check of my own, here or here? If I do a rook check, actually, the king has to kind of go across, well, backwards. The king can't go across, or that's too risky. So rook check. But then I'm on this diagonal where the king might go. So rook check. I think you just step back and I think you're fine. So take, rook check. I have to come up. Only move I can really play. You've got a queen check here. It feels too risky to me. I think I have to do it though. I'm going to have to risk blocking and have the checkmate threat. Because I do have checks that I can get in before you create the mate threat. What have I missed here? Wait, what have I missed there? Oh, it's just trading. Oh, there should be no danger of losing now. Guarded my pawn, I can step across. I'm going to push up. If I get the queen off, I should be doing well. It might be a technical draw, but I want to try and play for the win. Oh, I've got to be careful here. Oh, have I just blundered? I've got to be careful. If I get on here, then queen here, I'll lose my queen. It's just a draw. Oh, he's gone on the wrong square. Why has he done that? I've just checkmated myself. I don't believe it.